Good evening, Sue.
Evening, Frank. There we go.
Right. Is that my Christmas
So that
present then, to
is
do the
a full
filing?
set of all of those.
Apart from the one that Alex is doing.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So, apologies for the late start, and apologies too that normally the parish council meetings are the first Tuesday in the month, but this one was rearranged to the second Tuesday, and it looks as if it's affected our attendance.
Oh, lovely, thank you.
Right,
We need
first
three,
thing,
don't we? Yeah.
apologies for absence, Sue. I think we've had quite a few,
Yeah,
haven't
I've
we?
had Councillor Jablonski, Councillor Hamilton and Councillor Robinson. Apart from that, everyone else is accounted for.
So,
Councillor BSAPC sent her apologies, and I've just seen Elizabeth Snowden, she sent hers as well.
thank you. Are you all right with those, Sue?
Yeah, because I just record the councillors' ones.
Yeah, okay. Declarations of interest.
Same as last month for me.
Right. Apologies, councillors, that I've forgotten to buy a book. I knew there's something I've got to do today. I will get it up and running for next month. And then we can, a book to sign your declarations of interest in.
Oh,
So apologies for that, councillors. Called brain fade.
okay.
I know the feeling.
Agenda item 3 to receive and approve minutes of the meeting in December, and this will be the one on the 8th of December, won't it?
That's right, yeah. Yellow sheets.
Yeah, we're
So at this stage you're just sort of checking them for accuracy. Oh, sorry, I'm telling. I've got white ones. Have I got it wrong? Oh no, you've got yellow ones. Yeah, the yellow ones, yeah. Have you got the set?
I've got.
They're the ones.
Yellow.
Yes. Yeah.
I think these are the wrong things altogether.
Well, yeah. What's this you've got?
I've not checked it. I've not had time to check
There we are. It's just got white ones. Look.
it.
For some reason, I don't know why I've got. But I know why you've got white ones.
Okay. Not to worry, we're there.
Okay.
That doesn't look quite the same as mine. I know I'm only looking for.
That's
No, it's
the
not.
Oh no,
Is it?
that's November. No.
It's yellow.
So have you got all November's thing?
Well, cream.
You brought November's with you?
That's all I have.
No, December's. You've sent out.
Uh-huh.
It's in the big envelope.
Uh-huh.
I'll put these on the floor behind you so I don't get confused. Right, so hopefully now you're looking for yellow sheets. There. That's it.
Thank you. So, just for accuracy, because any matters arising will come up later, is there anything that anyone would like to comment on page 1? Okay, page 1. Page 2. Page 3.
This is going to sound really picky, and to see the bit in italics, I had to read that 3 or 4 times to make it make sense. It was resolved to defer authority to write to the locum clerk. Can we have a comma after right?
Which one is it, Portia?
Top of page 3,
Yeah.
number C,
Yeah.
the bit in italics.
Oh, right.
I thought we were deferring authority to write to the locum clerk.
Oh, it's right.
It's ever so small, but
It's because I can't use the name.
right.
So shall I put to
Just a
the
comma.
ex-employee?
Yeah.
So it's not.
So it's now going to.
So
It was
you're
resolved to
writing
defer
to the
authority
ex-employee.
to write to the next employee to the local clerk.
Right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So I've
Okay.
changed that on the original one here that Andrew
Yeah.
will be signing. And then I'll change it on the electronic one before it goes back on the website again.
Thank you, Portia. On page 4? No? No? Okay, lovely.
Yeah, you need to propose and second.
Yeah, I'll propose.
I'll second it.
Everyone in agreement?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Gets squiggly as it goes along. It's really squiggly now.
That's the last one of them
There you
for
go.
today.
Thank you. So, agenda item 4, to note matters arising from the minutes. Is there any matters that we need to be considering, or is everything else on the continuing business?
Yeah, I thought yeah. On our own report part, I'll be chatting about Killarney Park, so it might be better to wait. Just that the invitation to the coffee morning seems to have been sort of
Yeah, perhaps do that under.
withdrawn.
Yeah.
But
Right.
that can be part of when we get to it later.
Okay. So that's none then,
So,
really.
yeah, okay, lovely. So, agenda item 5, to receive committee council reports. Top Valley Ward, Deer Park Councillor Hamilton. He hasn't passed on any information to me about Deer Park, but apparently he's had some parishioners talk to him about there's a real increase of dog mess and soiling in the Warren Hill, Warren Wood area, which I think, Pat, you're aware of, aren't you?
Yeah.
In the Warren Wood area.
Yeah, and particularly around the park, the children's park. And I think, you know, the comment that Dennis made before, until we get a prosecution, I don't think it's going to get any better. Because Councillor Allen organised a massive poster that was put on, you know, more or less directly in front of the park where this dog mess is. And it doesn't seem to have had any effect at all. No, so it is an ongoing concern.
Is it a case of writing to the district council to ask them to enforce it? Have they got the power to enforce it? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I think Nikki, what's her
Yeah.
other name? Is the neighbourhood warden, isn't she? And she comes round
Nikki-
periodically.
Bryant.
Nicola.
Bryant.
Bryant. Well, do you want to tell me to write to Nicky Bryant?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just seems to have increased recently.
To Nicky Bryant, asking for enforcement.
Is it worth putting on some kind of an awareness raising event where we go out on a Saturday morning and stand around with poop scoop bags and talk to people and remind them?
It
Not
could
saying
be.
I hugely fancy the task, but is that
absolutely
maybe what
don't.
needs?
I'm not a lover of dogs, and
No.
I'm frightened of them anyway. So.
Yeah.
It's something that we can consider perhaps when the weather's better. You know, perhaps sort of in spring, summertime. But yeah, that's
Just at a
an
later
idea.
date?
Yeah, yeah,
Or at a future meeting,
yeah.
perhaps?
Discuss it
My
again.
feeling is
Yeah.
that people ignore notices, but if we all, you know, if we made an effort as a council to once or twice a year go to different hotspots with hideous yellow vests and poop scoop gadgets and just really make a big deal of the fact that people care, then it might.
It might encourage them, yeah. Yeah, lovely, thank you. Top Valley Gardens, Councillor Jablonskis has sent apologies for tonight. Apparently there's been some really useful conversations with the new owner of the, what was the Top Shop, but it's now called the Crest Mini Market. And he's quite keen on the idea of the new notice board there. But I think we've got that on the agenda later, haven't we, about the notice boards?
I think it's probably under, I don't know, have we? Ongoing matters. Repair of parish notice boards, installation of new notice boards.
Yeah,
So yes,
yeah,
we're
yeah.
under 10D for that one.
Yeah, and then the other thing for Top Valley Gardens is that they're making a really, really good job of the remodelling of the Benedict Court.
Yeah.
A really good job of it. It's been, you know, quite an eyesore and it's been quite a difficult facility, but the work is looking terrific, isn't it,
Yeah.
really? Yeah, so hopefully that's really going to raise the the area. Warren Hill Councillor Robinson, I think again it was the issue of the dog mess, and apparently I think they're calling it a phantom hole digger. There's a dog that seems to keep going on the children's park. not on the park area but the grassed area, and there seems to be quite a lot of large holes that are appearing. But again, nobody seems to know whose dog it is and how to
So it's
pursue
probably
it.
caused by a dog, because we can't say it is, can we?
No,
Or root caused.
hope it's not a person.
My mind was just meandering around that.
Is it somebody with a metal detector? We had that.
Someone did suggest that, didn't they?
What?
Could
We
it
had
be
that after
someone with a
Christmas.
metal detector?
Oh
The
yeah,
holes.
the was on there yesterday afternoon, and the I can't remember where they're from now.
Oh, from Gedling Borough.
Gedling
yeah.
Borough, that's
Yeah.
it, yeah. And they were checking all the equipment for us on the park, and they said that at another park they'd found that there was rather large holes, and that they discovered it was a chap with a metal detector and a spade going round. As soon as it beeped, he dug holes and dug up whatever he wanted, and then just
Left the hole.
upped and left. So it was left with big holes. So they're now trying to locate him. So everybody's got to keep their eyes out on the parks.
Is it a dog? Is it a person? So, Top Valley Ward, Warren Ward, anything?
No, that's fine up there.
Oh, great. Lovely.
Grit bins are full, been
Fantastic.
filled. So
All good
now.
news. Village Ward, Bestwood Village and Killarney Park, anything?
Nothing to report by me, no.
I reported at a previous meeting about a light being out, and that's eventually that's been put back.
Oh, great. Oh,
It's only
good
taken
news.
3 months for the county council to do it, but,
But
there we
it's-
go. At least it's been done.
Yeah, wonderful. And how about Killarney, Portia?
Well, there's quite a lot of things actually that I'm aware of for the village. The Killarney Park bit, I've been trying to pursue the invitation to go and chat to people, but the last thing I heard was they feel that as we can't spend any money up there, they don't particularly want us to go and talk to them. So if we chat later on about, I think it's on the agenda later, about how we do support Killarney Park, and then we can perhaps give them some more concrete information as to whether they want to choose to work more closely with us in the future. So that was the Killarney Park. As I say, I have tried, but I'm not having a lot of success. There are 2 areas in the village, well 3 areas in the village, where parking is causing a real problem. One of those areas, could the local residents want to leaflet the houses and just point out to people that where they're parking at the moment is a real safety hazard for trying to get fire engines up and things like that. I've told them I'll support them with that in however they want support. I wondered, I haven't offered, would we be able to photocopy for them? If they put a leaflet together, would we be able to print it out for them?
Yeah, or we can get it printed online. It depends on how many copies are you looking at? Hundreds or thousands, or just tens?
Like 100.
Oh, right, we'll do that
Road-
off the printer then.
Coronation Road's not more than 100.
Coronation
Jack,
Road.
You're the expert, you post. 100 would do.
On Coronation Road,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
Yeah.
half that actually.
yeah.
Do you want to say just
You
50?
see,
Well, I'll get 100. I'll get
Get
100 done
100.
just to make sure. It could be 50 something actually.
what happened? These houses, Coronation Road, Coronation Hill Road, was built not because there were no cars when they was built, and it's very difficult. I've had problems after problem. I did warn 5 years back, and my words are coming true. We shall be fighting, they'll be fighting whatever, but the cars parking spaces. I can see a lot of arguments. Now I've told people they have no right whatsoever to park outside their own property unless they have a driveway, which some people aren't. And they seem to think I said, no, you're not entitled to park outside your house. I said, what? I said, but every highway in the country belongs to the Queen. That's why you pay road tax. But they seem to think that they've got the divine right to park outside, very nice, but yeah,
No.
and you'll find, well,
So-
I think you know that.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. So, Paul, has there been an incident where, you know, a sort of emergency vehicle couldn't get through? Or?
Not recently. There has been something like 10 years ago, I've been told. The concern is that it's getting to the point again where it's literally
congested.
Yeah. There's another area of the village as well, a new build estate that was very poorly designed, High Main Drive, that the bin lorry often can't get at on a quite regular basis. But Coronation Road is the one that people are concerned about at the moment. Also, some new houses built opposite the country park, that rather pretty little block directly opposite the country park. The people there are parking on the road, which is making access down that road really controversial. And they've asked if we can look into, there's a very wide grass verge in front of the houses, if it's possible to look into getting parking bays put into those verges. So I don't know whether that is something that Gedling Borough or Notts Highways do.
It's not highways, isn't it?
Yeah. Councillor Barnfather, would you have any insight? Would it be a county council issue?
Yeah.
Are they likely to do it? I suspect not.
Do we know the name of that road? So that
Park Road,
Park Road.
near the junction with Broad Valley Drive.
Are there not parking areas at the rear of them?
There are. Each house has one parking space allocated. The problem is many households have 2 cars.
They do, but equally people choose to park on the front because they go in and out the front door.
Indeed
rather
they
than
do.
the back.
I do believe a trick was missed on planning with this, though, unfortunately. Should have been done at that stage.
Won't be the first time.
No,
The back-
I'm sure.
The back area as well, to be fair to the people that are parking at the front, the back area it feels quite isolated and twisty down there. I went to have a little look and it felt a little bit, I wouldn't want to park there in the dark, I don't think at all. There's strange little 6-foot high fenced alleyways that run down the back to the car park in different directions. It's a little bit strange, to be honest.
Could we
Wending its
possibly?
way round the car park.
Could we possibly get Sue as our clerk to write to Notts County Council and just highlight the issue? I know in reality, Chris, they're probably going to say there's no funding and it can't be done, but I think we need to highlight it somewhere, don't we?
So we need a proposal for Councillor Newling to write a leaflet for Coronation Road, the clerk to print off 100. Who's going to distribute them?
The people of Coronation Road.
Who do I send them to
Me,
though?
yeah.
To you to distribute, and that I write to Highways asking them to look at the problem of Park Road and Broad Valley Drive regarding a request received from residents for a grass verge to contain parking bays.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
Happy with that?
So
Yes.
do you
Right,
need-
so we need to propose them.
I can.
Seconder?
Yeah, I'll second
They
that.
have got their own parking spots, you
We've
know.
just said
Yeah,
that.
but they're
Yeah.
at the back.
But there's just one thing, and Dennis Beeston, that used to be the chairman, he tried to get a light in there because it's pitch black at night, you can't see a thing. And I think that's why they're leaving it on the road.
So
So
clerk to write to Highways asking them to look at it and lighting in the area,
Yeah.
sufficient lighting.
in car park areas.
I'm afraid there's 2 more issues on our
Yeah.
patch at the
Right.
moment.
So I've got a proposer, a seconder. Are we all happy with that?
Yeah.
Can we have a?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Can we vote? Is everybody happy that we can go ahead?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Dennis,
Okay.
Frank, are you happy with that?
Dennis,
Yeah. Are you happy?
Yes,
Right.
I'm happy with that, yes,
Okay.
sorry, yeah.
Back to you. Item
la-
2.
Last 2 issues. There is a really badly flooded, muddy path. It happens every year. It runs from Moor Road through to the tram stop at Butler's Hill. I've taken photographs of it today because it's about 15 metres long. It's 3 or 4 inches deep in places, thick mud and water across the path and the bridge. Now, it's been reported through the Highways website by several people. We'll carry on reporting it. Is it possible for the lengthsman to work on that strip, because it's not within the parish, but it does affect
The people of the parish.
What's the information on that?
He got some information on that.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Yes,
excellent.
yeah.
You're talking about the footpath that we use to catch the tram at.
Butler's Hill.
Butler's Hill.
Yeah. Lean
I've
pad,
explained
is it?
that,
Lean
yes. Her name's Pauline Leighton, Notts County Council. Good morning, Councillor. I just discussed this problem again yesterday with Dave Walker, the District Manager. That's the Ashfield side. There's no funding available for a full scheme to resolve the issue of a footpath being at the same level as the lake. Dave is just discussing it with operations, whether the interim measure can be designed so it could be undertaken. I'm not letting this go, because I did say to him that the bus service is finished about 6 o'clock. There's no bus on a Sunday. I walk through most times, and you're quite right. I probably said, well, I'm going to Bull, even if I take my shoes off. Yes, it is bad, and I'm following this up.
Brilliant.
And I've said that this is a footpath. I don't care about money. I don't care about money one bit. A public footpath should be maintained, and a public footpath should be accessible.
Did you say the letters from Ashfield, did you say?
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I mean, you know yourself, people in Bestwood Village were stranded on a Sunday, and it's all right if you can catch a taxi, but a taxi, I catch a taxi sometimes, not many times. It is £6 from Bestwood to Bull, and back again that's £12. People can't afford that in this day and age, and I've explained to them. And I suspect since Mr. Walker, Mr. Walker, I'd like him to come and meet me, and that's what I explained to him.
Excellent.
Thank you.
The position that we.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis.
Are you able to look into whether or not the Lexman would be able to do it if we wanted to ask him to?
Well, we've got plenty of hours. You've got 9 each.
Councillor Barnfather, is it? Sorry, I keep relying on you because it's
You shouldn't
that's
really,
county
because
council, isn't it?
He's not really supposed to speak at
Oh, no, it's
part of the
Ashfield.
parish council. But
Is it?
It's
Comes under
Ashfield.
Ashfield, yeah.
It's Ashfield.
It's
Right.
This is a
the proper name,
so I've got to ask if the
Ashfield,
Lensman can work on
13.
Ashfield Borough Council land.
Bucknell footpath. Got a name to it.
Ashfield District Council.
Yeah.
Oh, district council.
Yeah.
The district.
We
Sorry.
call it the lead path,
We call it the lean path, yeah.
but it's actually, it's Bucknell number 13 footpath.
Hucknall. Oh, that's really helpful. Hucknall 13 footpath.
I think it might be part of the Robin Hood Way, which actually is a recognised county path. That might have a bearing
The
on it.
trouble is, Jack,
It's near the lakes, isn't
the
it?
Yeah, I think
footpaths
Near the lakes.
public, and was noticed as public footpath
Yeah,
leading to the tram.
Yeah.
How can you get to the tram if you can't get
I know,
to
I know.
Mm.
Lucas?
I think it would be extremely helpful
not
for the
that,
council to know exactly what the duties of the Lensman are. Because I know that one of our councillors on Sunday spent most of his Sunday driving round delivering all the grits. So all the grit
No, the
bins.
groundsman, I've asked that. That's not a job for the Lensman. He's a qualified groundsman. He's not a delivery chappie or a litter picker. I've asked that already.
But it would be really helpful to have an absolute list of what he
But
can.
I have
and-
asked about the grid
yeah.
delivery and the answer was no.
And my gut reaction would be that I can't see why Bestwood Parish Council Lensman hours would be spent in Ashfield Borough, to be honest. They should
Well,
be
we can
spent
ask the
in
question
our
and then it
area.
can come back to the council and then we know, don't we?
Exactly.
So,
We
but
can
I'll
get to
email
it.
everybody
I
out
think
for
the
the
answer to that is, Andrew, as Portia has said, it's affecting residents of Bestwood Village, of this parish, directly affecting them. That's how it would be justified.
A lot of people use the path to try to get to work, and it's their school children that use it actually. I'm not quite sure what school they're going to. Green uniform. I don't know why they walk through that way. And it's in Hartlepool. It's quite an important path. Probably has
So
a safety
which,
issue.
with that being Ashfield, is there a parish council?
No,
that
there's
oversees?
an Ashfield District Council. I think it might be under the Highways Authority because of the kind of footpath it is. I can't remember Is it a Highways Authority footpath, Dennis, or is it an Ashfield footpath? Can you remember who's responsible for it?
Yes, it's in Knox County, they own the footpath
Right.
right of way. I started off with Bob Knowles, I think you know me, Bob Knowles, and he got in touch with this Pauline Leighton,
Okay.
and I'm leaving it in my hand because I've started it and I'm not
Right.
finished.
All right, lovely, thank you.
Because we are, I've got to repeat myself, sorry, that is a public footpath with notices up, and a public footpath should be accessible, and that is my argument. Well, not my argument, it's my rights,
Yeah.
and the people I represent right as well. Okay.
My last thing,
Okay.
Forge Mill, again, it's affecting the village but not actually in the village, which is why we don't get formal planning permission information about it, although we have done in the past. There's a meeting that I forwarded an email to Sue that was sent to me yesterday, inviting the councillors to a public meeting on Friday to discuss what to do about the application, or rather, realistically, how to fight the application, which is going to be at 7:30 in the welfare. I've mentioned the problem with the potential development before. They're trying to rally support to make sure that it's turned down. The information that's come through on the planning application, there's some information in there that really surprised me and surprised Frank. It says that they have met with the parish council last February. Now, I wasn't part of the parish council last February, but I know Jack was going very regularly to meetings, I was going quite regularly, and I don't remember it ever coming up. So I wondered whether the other councillors have any memory of it, or if we can find something in the minutes about it.
No, I can't remember us having a meeting
Yes.
with Forge Mill, can you?
Yes, I can.
Oh, he can, yeah. Yeah.
The owner of the Forge Mill told us lies, again, same as he's told Ashfield. He said, of course, the argument was, we've got some bad lads coming to stay, and people didn't want them in the area, which is obviously. And I'll tell you this much, if I've ever met a conman, I met him that day. There's a conman,
Was that Mr. Pepper?
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a conman. And he told us this, and I said, I believe it when I see it. He says, all I want now, I'm going to set some girls on in a factory. I have to forget what work it was, but he said, I'm going to set them on. I was going to have a cap. And he says, I said, so, if I got all, you're not bothered about, he said, oh no, not bothered about that. But when we came from that meeting, Mrs. G was one, when we came from that meeting, over Fiona says, don't trust him. He's a devious man.
Is there some way that the parish council can write to
Yes,
Ashfield?
yes.
But is
By
there
a-
some way that we
By the
can...
clerk.
Is there a way that we can
Yes.
phrase it,
Yeah.
which is a bit more diplomatic than what you just said,
Yeah,
but does express that we
Yeah.
are still
See.
concerned, that despite that meeting, we are concerned at the information that's been, about the accuracy of the information that's been shared? How do we say that?
Well, as a
Lovely.
parish council, the clerk can write to Ashfield, because Frank, you know, I got Ashfield Council. I said, now, it's unfair that you building, doing things in our area and we don't know about it.
You're
At
right,
least
yeah.
you should be sociable to the Yedlin Borough side. So I'm suggesting, Chairman, that the clerk writes a letter to the planning department at Ashfield stating that the the concerns that the Parish Council hold regarding the,
So we're concerned at the lack of consultation with the parish council.
that's right.
And the accuracy of the information is contained
That's
in
right.
their applications
And-
as well.
And info in their application.
And could we also ask that Ashfield update us on relevant planning issues
That's right.
as they have done in the past, because they seem to have stopped doing that from this application would suggest they've stopped doing that.
We've had nothing. I told you earlier, I've been searching all over the website. So on relevant planning issues that affect the Bestwood, St Albans parish ward,
Yeah.
even if indirectly.
Yep.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah,
Anybody saying okay to that? Any
yeah,
opposer?
yes, yes,
Yeah, I'll second it.
Right, aye. Everyone in favour?
yeah.
Yeah. Right, okay.
Sorry to take up so much time, guys. It's been a busy month.
Right, in my role as officer with responsibility for the buses in the Top Valley ward, we've had quite a few issues with the 79 bus.
So is this going back to Top Valley?
Well, it's a report from a councillor, and my role is...
So I'll put it under Top Valley then.
Yeah, can
I
do.
think it's that, yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
to
that
do
we're
with the
keeping the
buses.
headings right.
Yeah.
Top Valley,
So the
okay.
79 bus is very periodically not turning up, and when it doesn't turn up, there's no way of letting people know it doesn't turn up because there is only one electronic sign in the whole of that stretch.
Number 79.
Yeah. So when we got in touch with them to say, is there any possibility that there could be more electronic signs so that people standing there, there's some warning that the bus isn't going to arrive. There's no funding to do that. And a very blasé email saying that you should look up, and apparently if you're standing at the bus stop and you look up, there's a magic number near the top of the bus stop, and when you get your smartphone, you put this number in when you connect to the Nottingham City Transport site, and that tells you updates as to what's happening with the buses. And my response to that was, well, a lot of the people that live in this area haven't actually got smartphones, and other people, if they've got smartphones, they wouldn't know to look up to the sky and find this number. I mean, I find it incredible, the email correspondence we've had with Nottingham City Transport. They've been extremely difficult. But anyway, we will pursue it because it is a real issue. You know, we had people the other day waiting for buses that never turned up. Pregnant lady, people with children, you know, older people didn't turn up for an hour. Just stood there in the pouring rain, and there's no way to let you know because we've only got one electronic sign, which is useless when you've got a whole stretch of, you know, lots and lots of...
Is that the
So, yeah.
79?
The 79, yeah.
It's about them.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
where
so...
it's at. I've got ring with it.
Yeah, so we'll
So
sort
I
of
used
carry
to
on
go up and
pursuing
to see
it.
my rings.
Yeah, lovely.
Yes.
Thank you. District Councillor reports. Anything, Dennis, from Gedling Borough at all? Anything of interest?
No.
I did
Nothing.
notice one thing, that we were talking about speed limits, that there's a notice put up at the back of Park Road houses where it said 20-mile zone for the school children. Now, I got
There's
in
two
touch,
Dennis, isn't there?
I got in touch with Notts County Council some while back, asking why can't we make 20-mile speed limit same as the city had. And they said they're looking at it, but they said that most important is round the school areas, which we've all got young children.
And have they done that now then? They put the site, yeah, and that's, yeah. So that's consistent because they're doing it
Oh, by the
most
way,
of the city, yeah.
I can't hang on this. I'm a little bit disgusted with the way that the planning officers are working. They're quite right, I've seen the emails and it's quite right. But one officer is saying you do this and another officer is saying that. Now that is conflicting. And has to be having a word for some of the house beyond the planning, has been the word with some of the people regarding their misleading. That's a word, misleading people. It was when you read, Jack, about planning for this mover. I wrote some while back to when you asked me, Jack, to write. I said, it all depends, RIB, what it is, the equipment you're putting on. And he said, I can't see where there's a need for planning permission. I follow that up.
Yeah, thank you,
No,
Joe.
it's terrible.
Sorry,
We-
thank you, Dennis.
We expect officers, when we as councillors write, we expect the correct answer. Of course, don't forget, we handing this down to our people we're representing. It makes us look fools, and I don't like that. No. And I shall certainly raise it, Chairman.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Bissett's not here, but I don't know if she's sent any information.
No, I've not had anything.
No, nothing. And county councillors, Councillor Bonfarber, anything to share with us?
Am I allowed to speak now?
You are allowed to speak now.
Can I say, I don't know why I come if I'm not allowed to speak. I go to 5 parish councils, I'm allowed to speak at all the other parish councils. You're talking about things that I can help you with, but I'm not allowed to speak, and it just seems a bit of a waste of my time being here if that's the situation.
We can put in the standing orders. That, you know, the new standing orders we're doing, that county councillors are going to be considered part of the parish council for the whole of the meeting.
I don't want to interrupt what you're doing.
No, but
If I can add something to the things that you're debating, it seems a bit stupid that I sit here on my hands.
We're doing standing orders today, so that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Absolutely.
So anything at all to Councillor
I
Bonfarber?
don't have anything to
Oh,
report.
right, okay.
I actually, if I had anything to report, I'd be in touch with you rather than waiting for this meeting in any case.
Yeah.
But if you raise issues that you think I might be able to help you with, then please ask me.
Thank you.
as clerk, can I just say how helpful Councillor Barnfather's been on the countryside? It's been brilliant, especially with the grip bins and everything, so thank you.
Can we minute
So am I
that?
allowed to minute that?
We can.
I'm the
We
last
can.
thing can fill grip.
Yeah, thank you, sir. We'd have been
The
within a
Lakesmen
mess,
can
wouldn't
fill
we?
grip bins.
Yeah, filling them in Ravenshead.
Well, I asked at Ravenshead if they could deliver the bags, and I was told no.
No, they can't deliver them, but if
Right.
you have your stock of salted grit, he can fill your blue grit bins. Your
Ah,
parish
we've got
owned
bags, that's why then.
Is it because it's bags?
Well, it's whatever he can get into the back of his van. I don't know what you
Oh, yeah,
I
the
don't
bag.
know.
Yeah,
yeah,
the
the bags.
grit was delivered in bags.
Yeah.
So it's in, I think it's in a garage in the area, and it just needs to go from the garage to the individual bins.
Yeah, well, they can do that. Just
I
give them a
asked
list
that.
of Ravenshead bins to be filled.
Brilliant.
Oh, wonderful.
Well, I've asked
yeah.
that, and I've obviously been told wrong then.
Yeah, so,
So Councillor Barnfather says,
yeah.
Because I asked if I could use my
Yeah.
Lensman hours to
Yeah,
to
and I
fill
checked,
them
and they
rather
said
than-
no.
And yeah,
Right, well, hey.
perhaps they didn't realise that we had the grit relatively close already,
yeah.
and it was just a last minute sharing out rather than a
Distribution.
go all the
I
way
asked
to
at the
their
time we were
home.
ordering, when we'd ordered it from Notts County, and I knew it was coming, and we knew where it was going to. That's when I asked, because Councillor Hamilton, the one who's storing it,
Ali.
Yeah, yeah.
so we could get it out of his garden or wherever it was.
We spent all Sunday morning driving round, filling them up. Yeah.
Right, well, when we've used it up then, I'll get back in touch with the Lenksman, and one of you can use your hours up, do it that way.
Lovely. Yeah.
Can I just
Thank you.
ask Councillor Bonfather why he felt he was unable to speak previously in the meeting?
It's just parish councils.
When?
Just I probably did, because parish councillors in a parish council meeting, while the meeting's going ahead, there's only parish councillors allowed to speak. Even county councillors aren't technically supposed to, unless they've been given permission by the parish council in their standing orders that they're part of the meeting.
Okay.
It's a technical thing, but we're doing standing orders, so let's bring it in, because it wasn't in there before.
It just seems daft.
Okay.
If,
I know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, Councillor Barnfather
Because he's
can
got a
give us
wealth
some
of
really good
information there.
but, and while we're at it,
Right.
perhaps we should include the other, all just refer to county councillors and district councillors.
Yeah.
And then as people change, then it's not just specific to one
Yeah.
person, it's the role.
Fine.
So bear that in mind for
Yeah.
later.
Thank you. Agenda item 6 is regarding the declarations of interest
That's
forms.
just for noting.
I think all of us have got the new forms and have everything been returned to you, so are you happy with the information you've got?
It's not done, it's just a case of you've had the forms, and if you want to amend your declaration of interest, you just send it straight off to the district council. It's
Right.
between you and the district council, but it's just to say that I've given it you. Because a number of you wanted to change your declarations, didn't you?
Yeah. Lovely, thank you. So agenda item 7 is parishioners' questions, and we've got 15 minutes for parishioners' questions. So anything?
This is about the grit bins again. At the last parish council meeting, I was assured by Councillor Bissett that our bins in our area, in Gillingbury Council, would be filled by Gillingbury Council and not delivered to a councillor, expecting him to deliver it to me.
Yeah, I think
And
that
I
Are you in
was assured
Bestwood
that by
Village?
Councillor Bissett at the last.
Are
That
you
was
in-
going to happen next year. Because she couldn't do it this year because it had all been delivered to the parish council.
So what? Are you in village or are you in
I live in Gillingbury Council. I live on
Top Valley.
Swimming
Top
Drive.
Valley?
Yeah.
Right. Well, the situation was we'd got no grit in place at all, so we were panicking because we missed all the deadlines. So Nottinghamshire County Council, with the help of Councillor Barnfather, agreed to bag up some sand, some grit and give it to us. So we got some for that area. And Bestwood Village, at the same time, I think Councillor Beeston was on the job, and he got them to sort out their grit bins.
Why was it not done by Gillingbury Council this year as it was last year?
Councillor Barnfather.
Barnfather.
Because it was left too late, but
Why was it left too late?
Councillor Barnfather's going to answer.
Gillingbury Council don't have the remit to fill grit bins full stop. The yellow grit bins they're owned by Nottinghamshire County Council, they're filled by Nottinghamshire County Council. Blue grit bins, which are usually purchased by your county or district councillor, then become the property of the parish, and the ongoing responsibility for refilling them is the parish's responsibility, which is why we discussed the length
It's
of
been built previously by Gillingbury Council.
No.
I think Gillingbury have
Well, can I say, I've never
I can
known.
assure you.
Well, there's no remit to do it. They're not owned
Yeah.
by Gedley.
Okay, Captain.
But just to confuse things even more, this year, for the first time ever, Gedley Borough Council have purchased some grit bins, red grit bins. So we've now got blue, yellow and red, depending on persuasions. Because that makes the county council Liberal Democrats, don't they? But Gedley have purchased some red grit bins, and they have sited them in various locations around the borough. There are none in Westwood Village. I don't know whether you've got any here, because I don't cover this side of it. If it's a red grit bin, Gedley may fill it. But as I say,
So Councillor Bissett's assurance that next year it will be filled by Gillingbury Council and non-existent, or
well,
not standard then?
she can't give that assurance. But in fairness, she's a new councillor, and she probably was unaware of that.
No, still don't answer the question why.
Well, it doesn't answer the question as to why they've previously been filled by Gedley.
No.
I think you've been very lucky if they have been, but Gedley don't have a remit to fill them.
Okay.
Now, perhaps we commissioned, have we perhaps in the past commissioned Gedling to fill the bins?
I don't know because I haven't got the records, and when I came on board, nobody seemed to know what used to happen. But we can commission them next year, which is what I've put in the budget.
It may be that they look
To have
like
them
they're being
filled.
filled by Gedling because we've ordered a stock for Gedling to fill them with. That's one way that the parish council can do it. So it might look like Gedling did it, but they did it because we commissioned it and paid for it.
My further question is then, it won't be down to the councillor's responsibility to fill the bins then?
We've been discussing earlier on about how to get that done next year.
We've got
Because it is down to us to do the blue ones.
Blue ones.
Yes. And it would appear now any red ones.
No, we'll be doing that at the Lensman then?
Well, it's for the council to decide because we've sorted it for this year, so it's for the council to decide what they want to do for next year. But I think that will be when we see the success of this year. See how well they do.
Sorry.
You've been discussing the dog mess on the Muirfield Road Recreation Ground, and it has got worse, and a local dog walker has actually spotted somebody driving up in their car, parking near the field, letting the dog out of the car. They stay in the car, the dog then goes off and does what it does, and then they call it back, get in the car and drive off. We're looking out, I've asked the dog walker if she sees it again, can she make a note of the registration number so we can report it to the neighbourhood warden. But with regard to the poster that was put up, it was put up behind the fence on the school side, So on the field side, you couldn't read it. It was a waste of time it being there. If it's going to be put up again, it needs to be away from the fence, so that if you are on the field, you will be able to read it, because the fence was just obscuring it. So that was a waste really of time. So I think somebody would need to speak to the school and see if it could be suspended, perhaps between their gazebos or something like that, so that it's more visible.
Yeah.
And with regard to this digging of holes, I've actually seen the holes. They're not made by a spade. They're because you can actually see where the soil's been thrown out. It's not a clean hole. It's obviously been dug up by a dog. And again, people are looking out for it, but it's like you go one day and there's a hole somewhere, you go another day and there's a hole somewhere else. So, you know, whether it's the same dog, I don't know. And then with regards to the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit, if I can just say, because we've got those throughout Warren Hill, and they're a waste of time because they're not enforced, and the speeding in Warren Hill is appalling. I mean, it's so dangerous. There was somebody coming along Newcastle on Sunday, and they slowed down to turn down Muirfield, but you could tell the car wasn't in control because it was going that fast and slowed down so quickly. It was sort of shaking. We're going to end up with a serious accident unless there is some enforcement really of the speed limit. I mean, unlike the village, we haven't got speed bumps or anything like that, and we've got two really fast roads, Muirfield and Newcastle.
Yeah, thank you for that.
You know the signs that they've got, like on Queen's Bower, where it flashes up and it says slow down. I mean, couldn't we have something like that in the area? I mean, would that be feasible? Would be able
Councillor
to afford
Barnfather,
it?
is that a county council thing?
It is and it isn't. They will only put them in under certain criteria, and at the moment, as funding is, I wouldn't hold your breath too much. But the way that we've got them is the parish council have used some of their 106 contributions previously. You've got development that's generated some 106 in the area. You could use that as a road safety issue to fund it. I've got in some areas where the parish council have bought, so if you want one at either end of the road effectively for different, for opposing traffic, I've got that the county have bought one at one end and on the basis of matched funding that the parish have paid for one at the other end. So there are ways around it, but you before they would even entertain funding it, they would need to do a speed assessment. So they lay the strips across the road and they would work out what your average speeds are and what are the times when vehicles, if it's like 5 o'clock in the morning, for instance, they won't bother. But if you've got speed in at times when it's likely to be a significant road safety issue, you may get some funding.
So would the route for that be that the clerk would have to write to the county council and inquire?
Yes, it would help if the county councillor for this area sponsored it. I mean, I meet my highways officers and take them out on site and show them the problem. It helps if you've got your county councillor that's pushing for it.
So maybe if we got Sue to write to our county council, which is Pauline Allett for this area, to see whether she'd perhaps meet with us, or if we can sort of pursue it really.
I tell you what the world is. We, the Parish Council, brought that one on Park Road, and believe me not, they do work. An absolute bus stop, and people, it seems to get into the mind, and they do slow down. I don't know whether you've noticed it, Frank.
I have in the morning, yes.
And I told you, Chairman, I'll write and ask how much money it actually, of course the Parish Council brought it, see how much it is, then probably. Because we buy them and they maintain them. The county maintain them, but we have to buy them. So I'll find out, Chairman.
Right.
If you want me to.
So shall we let Dennis pursue that route and see how you get on, and then report back next meeting, and then if we do need the clerk to write to the county council and they have an assessment, etc., we can pursue it. Would that be helpful, Sue? Yeah. So do we need to propose that, or are we happy that Dennis is going to lead and yeah?
Well, I'll just make a note of it because it's not actually on the agenda. So, Councillor Beeston is looking into what are we?
It would be a sign, one of those notes, sort of. Yeah.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
I'm with you now.
Yeah.
Interactive speed signs.
Yeah.
For what location do we know?
It would be Bewcastle Road, wouldn't it? Really, I'm guessing.
Either Newcastle
Or
or Muirfield.
Muirfield.
Or the end of Muirfield is it needs Newcastle. You have to put some bollards up there because cars went through, straight through
Newcastle
into
Muirfield
somebody's
Road.
garden on several
Really
occasions.
dangerous.
So we're looking at the Newcastle Road, Muirfield Road junction.
Yeah.
Right, okay, marvellous.
Lovely. Thank you, Dennis. So agenda item 8 is finance, and these are all the pink sheets of paper that we've got to look through.
Yep.
So to authorise the payments, which, has anyone got any comments, or they're happy with all the payments that have been listed and that we can go ahead and get these all signed and happy? Yeah?
Yeah.
So if I sign to say that we're happy, do we need a
That's the spare one.
proposer and
Yeah,
a
we need a proposer and
seconder?
a seconder then, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
right, lovely. The second thing that we need to do is set up a direct debit for the telephone account, and the
Yes.
account's with EE at the moment.
Yeah.
So is everyone happy that we can give Susan the authority to set up a direct
Yeah.
debit?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so would someone
I'll
propose?
propose
Yeah.
that.
I second it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Lovely. Third thing, set up an automatic payment to inland revenue,
Yeah.
which would be for your wages, Susan, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Portia's
I'll
happy
propose-
to
I'll propose that
propose.
again.
Okay,
And
seconder.
Portia's
I'll second
second,
it.
thank you.
Right, Portia.
Fourth thing is to authorise the local clerk's timesheet and expenses for December, which there's a list here, the total number of hours. So are we happy that that's an accurate record?
Yeah.
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 So I'll sign,
Although I'm
That.
not convinced she actually takes days off.
and I actually think she works a lot more than 28 hours. I'm sure you've worked more than 28 hours
Well,
for
I'm
us,
happy.
but
I'm happy with what I've put on there. So.
yeah. So do you need a proposer and a seconder,
Yeah, I've got Portia and
Frank?
Frank. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just sign in that for you, Susan. Okay.
Marvellous.
Next thing is to discuss the setting of the budget for 2016-17, which was after the Finance Committee. So where are we with this?
Well, there's been a bit of discussion. There's 4 members on the Finance Committee and 2 were here. So we had like a bit of a discussion about it. But if councillors are willing, because it's all got to go to main council anyway, my concern is that we've got to get something called Form A into Gedling by no later than the 22nd of January. We've got no
Which
choice
is
on
that
that.
the precept one?
That's the one where we're setting out what we're going to spend things on. So if councillors are happy, can I just run through my spreadsheet with you as to where I see us being, and we can change it as a group, which is perfectly in the power of all. Yeah. So right, okay. So the first thing is, in order to, if you wanted to keep, and it's if you wanted to keep the precept in percentage terms the same as it was last year, then you would need to set a precept of £29,537.12p. So if you bear that in mind, that's what you'd be setting it at. Now it's slightly more than last year because you've got more houses, you've got your council tax base has gone up, so you've got more little dollops of money coming in. Okay, so now we go to what you might want to spend it on.
So are we saying that the precept would be the same as it was last year?
The percentage will be the same, so the householders will pay the same amount as they did last year, but you'd actually get another £400 in because you've got more houses.
Right, yeah.
So
yeah.
it's one of those things to try and sort of get your
Yeah,
head around. But show me, I've done the figures and that's it. Last year, Gedling Borough Council gave you £4,341, and they've indicated in the letter that you've got now that that's going to drop to 3,716.
And is that what they call grant aid?
That's it.
Yeah.
So you will get in, if you decide to keep the precept the same, which again is an if, because you need to go through your budget first, £33,253.13. On top of which, I can't give you accurate figures because I haven't got the reliable stuff from the previous clerk. I think you're going to end this year with at least 25,000 in your bank account. That's in your bank account before your reserves come out.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you bear that in the back of your head. Right, so expenditure this year, insurance this year cost you £1,373. That includes the extra for the mother. So if you were to put £1,400 as a budget for that, I think you would be well in. Yeah. Audit fees were £342.75. That's for internal and external audit. So if you were to put in 360, then again I think you'd be allowing yourself a bit extra in case the internal audit rate goes up. Wages, you're going to have a very big saving on that, I suspect, because the chat from last month's meeting was that the clerk's hours will go down from over 80 to more in the region of 30. So you can imagine the saving that's going to be. So I've done a quick mock-up of employing a new clerk on the basis of what I've suggested later on the agenda, plus a couple of months of me to see them into place. And I think if you budget £700 for wages and £250 for pay as you earn, you won't be far wrong. Okay. Parks, grounds, maintenance, and included in the flag and bus shelters. This year to date, you spent 4,656. But looking at quotes that are coming in for the maintenance of the square I think next year the most you'll be paying is £1,500 for the tender that you put together last month.
Does that include cleaning bus shelters?
No, we've abandoned that. If you then allow £500 for mowing of the muzzer, although my suggestion was that we do have a lot of Lensman's scheme to use up, Lensman's hours, and it will be an ideal job for him. And he's going out tomorrow with a map to sort out what he thinks needs doing and how much it would cost. So I'll know more for next meeting. But I think if you put £500 away for the mowing of the muzzer area, you won't be far wrong. But I mean, change any of these if you want to. You know, this is your budget, not mine.
I think what we need to be quite clear about is that the £80,000 that was for the muzzer, that money is coming out of that £80,000.
It will be doing, yeah.
So long as we're quite
But we
clear.
need to budget because it's still coming out your bank account. So what we're looking at is money going out of your bank account here. Yeah, so where it gets allocated.
Would you just restate that query, Andrew?
The £80,000 for the muzzer.
That's cost us to install it.
To install it. And then you said it previously that there was going to be some tax back.
About 12,000.
And that tax would be for like maintenance and...
That's right, yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this will be allocated
Your
to
VAT.
that.
Yeah, the VAT.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
You'll see that separately on your accounts when you get them.
so, but what we need to be quite clear is that £80,000 is covering everything to do with the muser.
So the bit of the insurance will be stripped out and put against that.
Inspections.
Inspections will be stripped out and put against that. Any costs on the mowing or the Lensman, we can always do a notional amount of £11.50 or whatever it is the charges can go against that. So you'll see that starting to dwindle down over time. And then you'll be able to anticipate when it's going to run out, which I think was worked out as 5 years.
No,
At least 5 years.
It's a lot longer.
At least 5 years. So are we happy with the £500? Although it might not.
I think it's well over the top actually.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're well in, but let's be pessimistic, shall we? And then I've sort of suggested perhaps £1,000 towards any repairs that need doing to any of the play equipment, and possibly any insurance excess if we have any damage. Because if you have any big damage, you're insured, but you do have to pay an excess, which I think is quite small. I think it's £100. But
it is £100.
please don't quote me on that. Yeah.
It is £100.
So in total, then, on parks, grounds, maintenance, we've got £3,000, which is, bear in mind, already this year you spent 4,600. That again is a significant saving. Cemetery maintenance, I haven't got anything in the budget for this year because we cancelled the contract with Gedling and I think the church is taking it over, and I've given Jack some ideas that he's passed on to the Reverend of volunteer groups that can help them with that. Every year we have the play areas inspected by ROSPA, so I've put in £250 towards that, and again the bit that relates to the muzzer I'll split out. So until we've had it, I don't know how much it is, but it sounds a reasonable amount.
Did you factor in the quarterly inspections by Gedling on that?
They will be coming under the square of the square maintenance and inspections
Fine.
for
Right.
1500. I think it's only £80 a year if you get Gedling to do it,
Yeah.
so it's quite a small amount, which is very good value for money, not it? Subscriptions, your subscription to NALC, I would highly recommend you keep that up because they are a valuable source of information. And similarly, when you get your new clerk, that you enrol them in the SLCC, which is it's their union as well, but it's also a very good source of advice that you can go to as a clerk and ask other clerks for advice. And we have quarterly meetings and things, and everybody's always had the problem you've got before, and it's so easy to just be able to send an email around everyone and say, look guys, how did you fix this? So it only costs you, I would say, less than £100 to enrol your clerk for a year. But I mean, that, again, it's up to the council. But so I've put in £800 for subscriptions. So are you happy with that? Yeah. Hall hire, I've assumed, and this is where it might get a bit ropey, I've assumed you're going to have 11 parish council meetings a year, and that you're probably going to go down the route of where the planning is, where you only call a meeting if you need it. So based on 11 meetings at £40 a meeting, which I think is more than enough, you're talking £440 for the year. Happy? Yeah. Advertising, I've put £100 in there because that was what was in there last year. When you're advertising for your clerk, I've already got the okay from NALC. They will put it on their website and they will actually email it round to the whole of Nottinghamshire's clerks. So you should get a good quality of applicants. You could also put it on your notice board. So I don't see the point in advertising for the sake of advertising until you've exhausted those routes.
What is that, the £100 for now?
So I've not. So I've only just put 100. No, they're doing it free because they
right,
just. That's what you get from them. So,
Yeah.
so that's why it's only £100, not anymore. Because
Are you putting your name down for it?
No. No.
No.
Love you to bits, but I'm full time at Nuttall. Telephone. We signed up for the telephone at about £20 a month. That might include the VAT. We can't get out of that contract because the old clerk had only just entered it. So that's £360, which you're going to have to just put up with. Councillor training, no offence councillors, but I would suggest you put £200 in because there's always going to be something crop up that you may be interested in.
Yeah.
And other training, I've put in £250 based on some training for your new clerk that you'll need, depending on how experienced they are, and that whoever gets either the job as clerk or perhaps the playground thing, somebody needs to do playground inspection training. It's done by Ross, but it's only £60. Best £60 you'll spend. You learn a lot. And it will also help if there's a claim that the person who's been inspecting it has been trained by a ROSPA course. So, are you happy with £250?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Councillors' mileage, I've put in £200, which equates to 444 miles. I can't see you doing more than 444 miles. And then we come to grants, which we had a bit of a chat about. We don't appear to have had a bill this year for the Royal British Legion wreaths, but I've put in £100 ready for November. So that hopefully should.
Previously.
Ah, well, I've not had any bill for this year.
No.
And I know Nuttall pay 50, so I just thought, well, I don't know whether you had a bigger one because you've got a bigger cenotaph.
Have you not got a bill to put in for the wreath, Dennis?
No?
No, that's on the day.
No. So do you want to do that?
Yeah,
Say
thanks, Dennis.
25, 50. What do you want to put in for wreaths?
£50.
50. Everybody
Yeah,
happy with 50? Right. Okay. Miscellaneous grants. Because I noticed from the accounts people have been applying for money and you've been giving it them. We've just put £1,000 in for that at this time. But of course that doesn't stop you issuing grants. It just means that you only putting £1,000 in at the minute.
So would that be where like the fireworks came in, the 250?
I've put fireworks separately at
Oh, right.
£250.
Right. Right. Yeah, okay. So miscellaneous could be anything.
Could
that
be
kind of
anything. And you're not
comes
restricted to £1,000, it's just to have something in there to give you an idea how much you'd expect to spend.
Yep.
Do you think that's reasonable?
Okay, yeah.
£250 for fireworks. Domestic allowance, again this is subject to you agreeing my suggestion of £40 a month for the new clerk. That's again a significant saving because you were paying £1,300 to the old one. That works out at £480. Happy?
Yeah.
Clerk's mileage, I've based it on the clerk doing 20 business miles a month, £108.
And would that be round the notice boards?
Well, no, because the council has said they're doing the notice boards themselves. This will be if you need them to come and meet with contractors, or it's very much you need to tie this down when you employ someone. As I've put in the notes, when you employ someone, you've got to say this is where you start work. So we're not paying your mileage from Timbuktu to here. It could be the cenotaph, for example, but anything that they do on business from there, they get paid.
I think councillors doing the notice boards has been a bit kind of an ad hoc, and it was a temporary arrangement, and we've never actually formalised it that we're comfortable for that to
We
continue.
did at the last meeting because I asked if
Perhaps it was the
councillors
one
were
that I
going to
wasn't
do
at.
the notice boards, and they said yes, they were happy to do it because you did resolve that at one of the last month's meetings, that councillors were going to continue to do notice boards.
Because if that is the case, then the councillors that are happy to do the notice
Can
board,
claim the mileage.
yeah, but also they've got to have printing facilities, haven't they? Because
Well, I post
everything
them
comes
out.
through on email. Right, so
I've
if
been
it's
posting,
posted,
they're on a different colour paper and they've got a box on that says notice board copy. And I've been posting them out to the 3 councillors who've been doing it.
But you don't
You
need
haven't
to
been
post
posting
mine,
them out
because I
to
run them
Porsche,
off
have you?
anyway.
Yeah, you beat me to it.
yeah.
I have mentioned to you that you haven't been posting them to Porsche. You need to post them to
I have.
Porsche.
But you
I
did
have been
this
doing,
time.
yeah.
It was
Oh, you
only
did
one
this
time,
time?
Jack. It was only one
Yeah.
time.
Obviously only one time.
Yeah.
I've
Fine.
got you on my little list
So you
now.
have been, that's good, because I suppose
Yeah,
she
right.
has two notice boards out
Okay.
of one.
So, office expenses, I've estimated they're £40 a month. That might sound high, but it's costing about £16, £17 to print out, to post out to you all this sort of stuff. So that's nearly half of it gone before you start.
But I find this
Incredibly
in paper
useful.
so valuable.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
couldn't
That's
absorb
right.
You're
the
happy with it?
information off
Yeah.
the
And you like the
screen in
colour
same
scheme?
way.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
you're
Yeah.
paying a bit more for the colour paper, but
No, it's brilliant, that's really
It's
good.
really
you're happy. No,
Excellent,
that's good.
this
Sort,
is, yeah.
sort of reading, but
Yeah.
it has to be, hasn't it?
Petty cash, I've knocked out altogether because I hate petty cash. I think it's just a licence for disaster. So I've just I've put 0 in there. Because I think I can't think why you'd need petty cash potentially.
What about stamps? Would that be a petty
Well,
cash
that could come
then?
under the clerk's expenses, the office
Oh, right.
expenses.
Right, yeah, yeah. And does the printing come under that as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because at the minute, because you're doing the printing by Nuttall, but if
No,
we
I'm
get,
doing it at home. It's not.
are
No,
you?
this
Right.
go nowhere near Nuttall.
If-
I'll get shot.
If and when we have a new clerk, the parish council does have a printer, so they could then use the printer, and it would be a case of buying the paper, so that would come under the office.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah, and, yeah.
So I think when you add up the paper, especially if you're having the colour stuff, the postage and whatever, I think £40 a month is probably going to be about right.
Use it, yeah.
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 So 0 on petty cash. That's just my pet hate, but
No,
Election costs. Now I've been chasing up Gedling because they hadn't sent us a bill, and they've come back with I think it was £2,400, something like that. So it's good practice to save up towards the next election. Your next election, you're not going to have the parliamentaries with it, so you're going to have to pay a bit more because to spread the overheads over the how many elections they're doing at one time. So I think if you put £750 away, then you'll be aiming towards £3,000, and you should have it covered, or at least no nasty bills. The website I've put in £200 just because that what was there last year, but it hasn't cost you a penny, and the chap Ken is indicating that it's not going to cost you a penny. He's doing it as a goodwill thing free of charge.
Excellent.
We
That
just
was
need
training,
to get
yeah.
it sorted, don't we?
And he is
Because
keen to
it's-
get it sorted,
yeah.
so the more stuff we can get to him,
yeah.
the better we can develop it. And he did sound very keen to develop it with us. So,
It's pretty good. He lives there, well, opposite me and Jack.
so
Ken
things
does.
that you think might want to go on the website, if you start to think of pages that you'd like to create on the website and send it in, then I can send it in to Ken
Yeah.
with the a starting thing and see how it goes.
It's
But you
pretty
can always,
good.
any council can always put it on the agenda to,
Yeah.
do something else with the website when you want.
We do, because there's inaccurate information there, which is...
Well, if you let me know what it
Yeah.
is, I'll get it taken off.
Yeah.
Memorial maintenance. Now, you put away last year, or this current financial year, you've got in the tin £2,135 towards cenotaph maintenance.
Don't we get a grant for that, sir?
Well, not that I know of. I'm suggesting that you put another £1,000 in, but then there's nothing to stop you going out for grants from the Heritage Lottery and things. But I think the indication from the vicar was that something between £3,000 and £4,000 was needed before 2018.
Councillor Barnfather's got some information.
There's a fund at the moment that's been run through the county council for cenotaph cleaning, reading, lettering, etc. I know that it's undersubscribed. There's not been that many claims on it. You can contact a guy called Neil Bettison at County Hall. If you contact him, he'll be able to advise you on how you would apply. I think it's £300 you could get.
Well, that would be helpful, wouldn't it? Because Reverend Snowden was very keen that ready for 2018, the lettering is all redone. So it was a case of possibly wanting that done in 2017. So we need to start thinking about that now, don't we? And the quote was 3,000.
Put a bid in to
Yeah.
re-letter their memorial.
Yeah,
Right,
it was
okay, thank you for that.
£3,000, weren't it, the quote? So,
Yeah.
any help we can get towards that. Because did we establish quite clearly that the parish council does own the cenotaph?
Yes, that is ours.
And
It was
is
handed over to us.
Is it the cenotaph? Is it sort of the railings around it?
I believe it's the whole thing.
Is it the flagpole? Is that at the side as well?
Yeah.
The flag
Yes,
and-
because that's on our
it's all-
asset register. They're both on our
Chairman.
insurance.
That really upset me, having to put a rail around a monument like that. You know, what will they go to next?
Wow.
Used to sit on the steps, and in fact we did so much damage. Frank could tell you this.
Yeah, well,
I went to a stonemason, if they do it up for me, and he knew me. And he did it for the people of Bestwood. He says, you owe me nothing. There's about £2 on it.
yeah.
So,
The kids used to ride the bikes round it,
Right.
the kids did, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
That's why we had to put the rail round,
Yeah.
that's the only reason why, wasn't it?
I agree with you,
Okay,
Chairman.
so-
Why
Yeah.
should we have to pay that money?
Well, we'll
But
get
also-
in what we can,
Very
but at the minute, if we
secure.
save £1,000, then we can. If we don't spend it, it can go back in the tin, be reallocated. But at least we're saving towards it if we
And we
need it.
can look towards the grant, like the War Memorial Trust
Yeah.
and things for grants to support.
So miscellaneous, I've put in £250 because it was in there last year, but you only spent £8. So, but do you want me to leave that in, or just get rid of it, or
That's
Leave it in.
242 miscellaneous that we didn't
I
have.
know, get some more flowers. Right, gritting. Right, I've based this on Gedling Borough Council will fill the bins for £60 per bin per fill. So I've assumed that next winter, if the council wish to go down that route, it will be £60 for 2 fills a year, assuming 12 bins, which I included Killarney Park. So I thought, well, the most we're going to spend on gritting then for next year is £1,440. Now, I have got quotes coming in from other local suppliers, so we can compare them with
How
Gedling's.
many bins was that?
12.
That's the parish
That's
council.
absolutely, yeah. You might not even have 12, but you might decide to buy some red ones. So I think that's probably 1,440. I think is the top end, unless we have oodles of snow and need them filling continually,
Yeah.
which you can never plan for anyway. Plants, we sort of talked about this and put in £150 because there was talk about doing extra planting to what was done this year.
Yeah, because this year it was £50.
It was
wasn't
80.
it?
We put it up to 8. It was 80 in the end. That was the meeting you weren't here. We put it up to 80 and that one that you missed.
And that was absolutely 80 totally spent
Because
solely
that
in the
was
village.
what was in the that was what was in the budget. So it was 80 for the whole of the area.
The village.
No, the whole
The
area.
whole parish.
No, the village. The £80 because there are no planters. There's no way you can put plants in the top Valley Ward area. So if it's going up to 150, we're saying £75 for Top Valley, £75 for the village. But if you're saying the village wants £80, then it needs to
shall
go
I
up
make it
to
160 then?
160.
Yeah. So shall I make a note on that split between the areas The two areas, yeah? So sort of like £80 each.
Well, actually, if you look at the areas, there are 9 councillors, and really that should be split 5 nights. So 4 nights should be in the village, if that's the £80, and 5 nights should be in Top Valley Ward. So possibly ours is £90. And I think that's the way we've got to start thinking from now on, because we were elected by the local electorate about looking after our area, which has never been done before.
Right, everybody happy with that, or? Yeah?
I didn't ask for a specific amount of money for the village, for the village things. We haven't actually spent the £80 so far. That was something that came up.
No, you've only
to be
spent
discussed.
51.
Yeah. And I suggested that the amount go up generally because I think Mrs G's been doing it on a shoestring, and I know that you want to spend money on gardening in the Top Valley area as well. So that was the reason that I emailed Jack ahead of the meeting to say if he was able to, if it seemed appropriate to ask if the budget can go up, because I know the other side wants to, but I don't think we specifically, I haven't got as far as needing a specific amount of money for village planters. Just I knew that Mrs G was managing to do it extremely cheaply.
And
So-
I think when Mrs G was very irate a couple of meetings ago, the fact that she'd emailed you and asked you to provide £20, wasn't it, 19.99, to provide some seedlings so that she could grow them over winter, it would have been a fabulous idea. But at the time, we had no access to the bank accounts, and we had no money, so we'd got no way that we could commit to that. Now, if we know year on year that we've got that funding, we can get a really good system going. I've got a greenhouse, other people have got greenhouses. We can blow things over the winter, and then we can get things in the summer. And I think, you know, the parishioners in the Top Valley Ward would really quite, you know, like the idea that we're actually doing something for our ward. So that would be very
So should we
helpful.
make this £180 then, so that it's
Well,
nice
I'm
and dividable by 9?
I'm wondering whether you might
Yeah.
need more. I'm wondering if you might need more, because do you want to put planters and baskets and things that hang on?
Well, at the minute we've got nothing,
Yeah.
but we need to look at a receptacles, and I think we're quite keen to do a project with the school children. So whether we could do something there and possibly, you know, use the land, the communal land, but maybe get the school children involved. So if we know we've got a budget and we've got 60, 80, £100, whatever, then we can start planning how we can use that budget.
Well, you'd end up with 100 and village would end up with 80. Yeah, so would that sound okay?
Yep.
That's it, right,
Would be
okay.
me, yeah.
Lengthman scheme, right, Councillor Barnfather, again, very many thanks. I've been in touch with Ravenshead. We're hoping the Lengthman scheme is going to continue and there'll be no charge to us unless we go over our hours. The fact is we've got hours to use. So at the moment, before we get charged. So at the moment, there's no anticipated cost to put in for next year on that.
Oh, right, so the whole of the
Okay.
year to spend the allocation.
And lastly, before I bore you all senseless, chairman's allowances and expenses I've left the same at £380.
270.
Was it 270?
This year it was 270.
Oh, right. Oh, I do apologise. I don't know where I got that from then. So, your grand, the amount that will be left over, if you keep your precept at the same percentage, after all these costs, is £12,185.13. So that's a healthy amount to go towards your projects, whatever you may be undertaking.
That's all right.
So,
Can I just ask Sue? Our this year, we gave Warren Action Group a donation towards the Christmas lights. We'd like to do that again next year, but have some more lights, because there was only enough for 7.
well, would that come out of grants, miscellaneous grants?
Yeah, probably.
So we've got £1,000 in there.
No,
We haven't.
the grant this year was £2,000, so it wouldn't be.
But I was led to believe that was just a one-off. I didn't realise.
It was given without any...
I mean, it doesn't mean you can't apply, because you've got all this. The idea is that you've got the money that's left over from this year, add on another 12,000 on top. So there's nothing to stop you at a council meeting saying, right, we want to allocate so much of our unallocated reserve to Warren Action Group, or towards planters, or towards a new sign to stop people doing dogs, or towards this day out where with pooper scoopers and things to buy all those.
Can we not do it now? You know, say we're going to allocate X amount. You know, like you've done for the
I mean, it's still whatever you put in
memorial
here, it's still going to have to go through the system when you want to draw it out and spend it.
Yeah.
It's just that, you know, it'd be nice to know that we've got some more Christmas lights going up next year. Well, this year really.
Because it really did make an impact.
Yeah,
Oh, we
kids
could
have
increase
to-
the general grants, the miscellaneous grants.
Well, at the minute, the grants application policy is £5,000, isn't it? The most that we could give is 5,000.
I don't know, I've not seen that grant application policy, but I'll believe you.
Yeah, it's
So are you
around
saying put
somewhere.
5,000 in there because that's the most you can give away?
on one occasion, yeah.
That's a lot of money.
But I think that's
Well,
consistent
this is what,
the
you know, this is what we're here to
the new
discuss.
standing orders. That's consistent in the
As
standing
you say, all
orders,
we're doing
isn't
is
it?
creating
Yeah.
a budget here. We're
That's
not
it, yeah.
committing any money
No, you're not
to
committing
anything.
any money to
It has
anything,
to be
it's just
discussed.
an
Each individual
idea.
application has to be discussed
Yeah.
and treated
So
on its merits,
it's not
hasn't it?
like...
So, bang in the
£5
budget if you want.
Right.
So is this a budget that we're setting?
This is a
And
budget.
it's set in stone
No.
for the year?
This
Or
is just
there
what
the
I've got to
flexibility?
submit. This is what I've got to submit to Gedling as what we think we're going to spend on this form before the 22nd. And then this forms the budget of what you actually spend when you're comparing what you actually spend next year against what you thought you were going to spend. And then it will flag up if the new clerk is spending hundreds of pounds on nice stripy paper. You'll say, hang on, why are you going over your budget?
So
It's just a guide.
Yeah, that £12,000 then, that needs to be split into 5 nights and 4 nights.
Well, that's just a general thing at the minute. You can't just allocate it to
But
nothing.
that's the fair
Yeah.
situation.
Well, that's
isn't
what
it?
you do at a council meeting. So that's now reduced to 8,185 if you're going to put £5,000 in the miscellaneous grants. And I see where you're getting at, but we need to do that after the year end when we know how much money's left. That's when you do what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm a
Yeah.
doctor.
We trust you.
So are we happy with that?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So can you give me
absolutely,
the okay to fill in this form, this Schedule
Yep, here.
A?
Thank you for your hard work.
Right, so can I have a proposal then?
yeah. I'll propose it.
Okay. Seconder?
Yeah.
Right, everybody happy?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So,
Right.
sorry, next one is to discuss the setting of the precept for 2016-17.
Now that budget I've based on the fact that you're not going to increase the precept, you're going to keep it at the same percentage terms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we need a proposer?
Yes, please.
Someone like to propose?
Yeah.
One second. Is everybody
Seconder.
happy that the
Yeah.
precept stays the same? Yeah.
Okay.
The next thing is to supporting local communities funding application update.
I've sent it in. I've not heard. Is there not some issue with getting permission from landowners?
I don't know.
Because one was on private land owned by a shop.
Top shop.
That was the new, possible new site.
Yeah,
for the new
which is what we were
notice
doing with
board.
the funding application because we were going to. The plan was I understood that we were match funding to get 2 notice boards. So I've not heard who the landowner is to write to. So do you know?
Is it still Jan Pawley that's dealing with it at the county council?
No, we've put in the application to the county council,
Yeah, it's supporting local
Yeah.
communities,
Yeah.
John Paul.
Jan Pawley, yeah.
but they can't progress it until we can prove that we've got permission from the landowner to put the notice board on it. So I need from whoever knows who the landowner is for those 2 sites, please.
Well, the shop has a frontage and then it has the pavement, and I'm guessing the frontage and the pavement are the county councils.
I think they've looked into
I'm
it and said
guessing.
no.
And that's where Jan Pawley came in. Because she was also trying to find out if where they wanted to put the poles of the new notice board in the ground, were there any services, utilities under there. It was all left with Jan Pawley last October. This has gone on for months.
I think she's told me that they don't own the land. I'll check with her again, and I'll let you guys know.
That'd
Okay,
be
I'll let you
really
all know,
helpful.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, right.
Right, so the next is agenda item 9, planning.
Yep, blue
Yeah.
papers.
So the blue papers for planning. This arrived at the wrong address, so that is a grant consent that came.
Okay, I'll try that.
I wonder whether the Ashfield paperwork could be going to the wrong address still. Although, no, because it would be
Mary Hall.
Mary Hall. not
The last
Mary
thing we had from Mary Hall was the land lease agreement for the Musa, and that was posted in November, and it was handed over at the beginning of December.
Yeah, and I've had 2 from Gedling with planning applications on.
I just wondered whether Ashfield might be using an incorrect address, but it's more likely that they're just not sending it at all, I think.
So, if I put on there, going back up onto the agenda, and check address to send to. I'll put that in the letter to Ashfield District Council, saying that the council are concerned at the lack of consultation and info in their application, and that they update us on relevant planning issues that affect Bestwood St Albans Parish Ward, even if indirectly. And I'll check that they're sending it to my address. Okay, that might be right. What's happening?
So the first thing is the draft minutes of the planning committee held on the 17th of December. Unfortunately, I had to give apologies for absence. Mike chaired the meeting and Portia and Jack were there. So are you happy to comment as to whether that's a true?
That's fine to me.
We read them out at the meeting so that they're seen during the meeting, and it's a consensus thing. So yeah.
So you're happy? So do we need to do any more with that? So are you just happy that that's a true record?
No, that's right. Well, it's got to be proposed by
It would have
Councillor
to be.
Newling and Ashford, because they were the only 2,
Yeah,
really, to be fair, because they know what they're doing here.
yeah.
Okay. Although you're only receiving them, you're not saying they're accurate.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So planning applications received. So
Right, we've got 33 the Spinney. I've got the paperwork here.
These haven't been to planning committee, have they?
No, but the main council have got authority to be able to do them as
Okay,
well.
right,
Yeah.
well, I
So,
can
do you want to have a...
Inform you that Frank and I have made a visit here.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
To the 33 that's been here, talked to the
Yeah,
household.
yeah, we did, yeah.
It's very straightforward. It's just an upper storey extension over a single storey bit of the house. Next door are perfectly happy with it. There don't seem to be any problems at all.
No.
It's very much in keeping with what other houses in the area have done already, isn't it?
So, are we proposing a no objections?
We are recommending more.
We recommend it.
Everybody happy with that?
Yeah.
And the other one that I haven't had the paperwork from Gedling for is 3 Robin Hood Road. I've picked it up off the website. Conversion of 4-bedroom property into 2 3-bedroom properties.
I think this is the one that Mike said it was important that they included parking
Yeah,
spaces.
Yeah, it was.
He spoke to me
Yeah,
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. I remember now. Forgotten about it.
yeah.
Did he speak to you too?
It was in an email, I believe.
Right.
He emailed us all saying that he felt that there was room for off-road parking, and that off-road parking should be included because it's a narrow road and there's already access problems.
Yeah.
but how come they're not sending the paperwork? Like, is there an expectation now that everything's done via the website?
I'm wondering whether it's just a case of they've only just started using my new address, because this one came handwritten, which is unusual. I'd have expected them to have had it. So I think it's perhaps just a crossover thing.
Yeah.
But I can always email them and say, please make sure you send them there. But when you get your agendas, it's got the numbers on. You can always look them up on the website, and you can call up the plans and look at them if you want to.
And the last thing on planning is suggestion for streamlining the planning decisions. So, what were the thoughts?
This came from NAUC, the basis for this. And their idea was that instead of having formal planning meetings, some councils have opted for the situation where you have a number of councillors, one of which is elected chairman. Upon receipt of the planning applications, then The link to the application on the website or copies of the key planning documents are sent to the members of the planning committee. They then make their own investigations, and if any of them have got concerns, then they contact the chairman of the committee or the clerk and get it put on an agenda, and a meeting is called and it's discussed. If they don't, then it's assumed there's no objections, and after a period of time the clerk then just fills in no objections.
So essentially, the planning committee only meet if they feel there is something to actually discuss between them.
But any one member of the planning committee can trigger a meeting by saying, I want to discuss this.
But it does do away with having to have meetings when they're pretty straightforward.
And there are other parish
applications
councils
like
that
the
are
one we just
using
looked
this,
into.
and now say it's perfectly okay to do it. If you put it, if you put it through the system, that you resolve that this is the way that you are going to
Sounds
run
like
your
a good
planning.
idea to me, actually.
Yeah. So
Is that what you were trying to achieve? Because you were asking me about that 2 or 3 months ago. weren't you?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good idea.
I think we potentially might need to be a little bit better communication-wise though, because potentially we could all turn up outside 33 the Spinney on 4 or 5 different occasions. If we all went in to investigate separately, that would obviously be a shocking nuisance and waste of time. So I think we do need to when the email goes around, to maybe have just a little bit of coordination as to whether or not somebody's going to go and have a look or isn't of it.
So really, I know from the meeting, I'm sorry I've not been able to make the meetings last year, but you didn't elect a chair, you decided you were going to have a revolving chair, weren't you? But maybe is this the opportunity now to
you
definitely
need
elect
to
a
elect a
chair,
chair.
and then the chair can take the lead and, say who's visiting and, the investigations and everything? Would that be helpful?
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, so if we adopt this, then we just need the
So it
5
was-
members
it
of
was
planning
resolved
to
to adopt
decide
the
who the
procedure.
chair is, and then, we can take it from there and give that a try, because it would be less time consuming, I'm assuming.
Could, like say, is it 5 on us on it? It is 5.
Yeah, 5 councillors.
Couldn't those up here look after those up here, and them in Bestwood Village look after Bestwood Village, and then meet after, like, at a meeting, and then discuss it? Instead of keep having these meetings and that lot, like.
Well, they could all be brought back to the main council for people to give a report, just like you've done tonight. So resolve to adopt the procedure and reports to be included in main council agenda?
That's if everybody agrees, like,
I mean, Mike's
Full
not here,
council
but I know
agenda.
Mike is very keen on planning and potentially might want to take the lead for the Top Valley ward, and somebody might want to take the lead for the Bestwood Village ward. So
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
No problem.
So do we need to propose or?
Yes, please, if somebody proposed to adopt the procedure and reports be included in the full council agenda.
yeah, I'm agreeing with
so
that.
Frank,
Yeah.
if Frank proposes, I'll second that. That's
Okay.
okay.
Are the applications still going to be received by yourself, Sue, and you send them out?
Yeah, the only trouble I've got, I haven't got an A3 scanner at the minute. But
I'm still not quite clear on how.
Well, I'll send you out the link.
Information comes out from Gedling to us as individual councillors.
well, no, it can come to me, and then it's up to me to get it to you, and then the
Right,
clock
But it
starts
clerk
ticking.
first.
So the 7-day clock doesn't start ticking
Until I've sent it to you, and the day
Okay.
after.
Okay.
Yeah, so you've all got at least 7 working days, that is, not 7 calendar days, 7 working days.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, we're happy. Agenda item 10 is the ongoing matters, and that's the issues and things on the white papers. So the first thing on the white papers is adapting the standing orders and the financial regulations that were from NELC. So the standing orders.
We need to now add about the rule of debate about county councillors and district councillors.
And would we add that to the end, Sue? Because we've got to T. Would we go U? Add it.
Debates. Well, it's not really matter where we put it. I think ordinary council meetings. We could put it under number 5, ordinary council meetings. Perhaps as L. Just at the end of that, yeah? Item L. 5.
I'm just concerned that this is these standing orders are incredibly complicated and lengthy. I mean,
I know.
I've already been accused of breaching standing orders, and I've no doubt I'll breach them again because I'm not going to know them, and I don't think anybody else is going to do either.
90% of them you don't use, but they're very handy to have there in case you do ever have a problem.
My
With-
concern was with the rules of debate at the beginning, because at the moment we don't in any way follow anything remotely like
No.
the rules of debate at meetings. It worries me that if we have them, that we have no intention of using them. If we have them, we ought to try to use them, and I'm not convinced I can.
No, your standing orders are exactly what you want them to be. These are just come from that. You can put whatever you want in them.
These ones, are these not standing orders?
No, that's just for you to have a read through before the next meeting, if that's okay. See what you think.
Yeah.
Because I've just literally pulled them from Nuttall, because there are policies referred to in your standing orders that you really should have, that you haven't got.
So
they
these
will
are
fill.
policies, not standing
That's
orders.
right, yes.
Sorry, I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, in fact, I think Councillor Newlands actually put something at the end. There's a page at the end which you suggested to put instead of this debate.
I did.
There we are.
I
Look,
think you've
this
printed
one
off an email that I.
with the purple
Yeah,
bit
I've
at
got
the
them.
top. Yeah,
Yeah.
a bit further back. The purple bit at the top. That was Councillor Newland's suggestion, instead of rules of debate, to have that or something like that in.
I actually quite like
It's
the model.
just immediately after the standing orders, there's a copy of Portia's email here. So if
Can I
the
just
sheet
bear in
of
mind
email
we're
after,
on 10
Yeah.
past
Standing
9, we're
orders.
struggling on.
at the end of the
Yes,
standing
there
orders.
isn't a copy of my email. And my email was very
did that-
detailed.
Yeah, but I think did that come in after I've done
Yeah,
it? I
you
don't
got
know.
it there. Oh, yeah.
I made
That's it.
changes, all yours. I made the changes for most of them. I
That's it.
changed it on the thingy ones. You know why you went through line by line?
Yeah.
I changed them.
Okay, so if all my changes are incorporated, I'm happy
I
to
believe
accept
so,
them
yes.
as they are.
Did you say you've changed some things on here?
I
There were
sent
some typos and things that.
Right.
There was typos, there was incorrect spellings, there was
Yeah, they
my
just come
teacher
through.
that I just couldn't stand.
One thing I noticed, the length of the meetings has been changed, is 2 hours on
Yes,
here.
because that's one thing that it was 3. And
Well,
then
it's
we
Portia,
said we
one
could always
says yours
extend it if we needed to.
Oh, yeah, fine.
3 hours.
Yeah, it's going to be
It's
2.
now going to be 2.
It's already changed to 2
Yeah,
on here.
because 3 hours would take us till 10:30.
Yeah, as I say, well, I will have to say about this. I mean, the standing orders we used to have was like 3 sides of A4, wasn't it?
But that when they went to now for approval, it was, well, no, you can't have them, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Really?
all right. So, right, okay.
I mean, to give you an example, I've never really, the standing orders at Nuttall, they don't tend to sort of, they do abide, they do know how to debate or whatever, because we've got a number of dual hatters and even a triple hatter on our council.
Triple hatter.
Yeah, three different, it works with 3 different councils.
Oh, right.
But we did have an incident a couple of months ago where there was a very contentious issue and the councillor was trying to change it to make it a negative, and you're not allowed to do that. So there was, you know, so we did actually use the standing order, and that's the first time I've actually referred to him in the best part of over 8 years.
Right.
But it was handy when someone was trying to pull a flanker. But it's your standing orders, guys. It's what you want. And of course you can change them. Like anything, but at the minute you haven't got awful
No.
good ones.
In view of the time, could I propose that we accept the standing orders as they are?
With the district and county councils
And
to be included in
that
debates
addition,
at 5
yeah.
Yep.
Is
So
anyone-
proposer, is there a seconder?
Is anyone happy to second? Councillor Clark.
Is there anything substantially different in here from the ones that we read at home?
No.
No.
It's mainly typos, and the biggest change was from 3 hours down to 2, because
The bit that I totally didn't understand, page 9712A, did somebody else? Oh, it's not on page 97 anymore.
no,
Is that
because that was the
the
thingy,
unitary thing?
12A.
Did you manage
If
to
the
make
draft
that
minutes of a
make sense?
preceding meeting has been served on councillors with the agenda to attend the meeting at which they are due to be approved for accuracy, then they shall be taken as read. What that means
makes
is when we
sense
get
now.
here,
I think you must have changed it because it makes sense now, because it didn't
Oh, I
make
didn't have it.
sense Unless you
Yeah.
pause. when
All
you're
it
going
is,
out,
you
then
just
it makes
assume
sense.
that you've read all your packs before you get here.
Yeah.
So you're not sitting here for hours waiting for people to sit and read stuff. That's basically what that means. You've got to read your stuff. It's taken as read, so you've not got to say, read page 1 now counts as read
'Cause
page
we've
2. You
gone
just say,
through
right,
it.
I'm taking these as read.
Lovely. So we've got proposed seconder. We'd like to vote as to whether we're happy to accept the new standing orders. Yep, we're happy.
Yep,
I'm
okay.
voting
so-
against.
So we've got one against. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Five
I'll
for,
use
one
that vote
against.
in future when I breach them.
And then the next one is the financial regulations, which again I sent 2 sheets of A4 of typos mainly.
This has come from now as well.
Which, if those typos have been amended, then I'd be happy to.
Right, okay, we're happy with that one then?
Right, so can I propose that the financial regulations are okay, and then we'd need a seconder?
Seconder?
Are you happy with them, Sue?
Yes,
From the point of view of abiding by them?
Yes, I think they're fairly reasonable for a council of this size, yeah.
Okay, fine, that's good enough to me.
Can I just ask as a point of order, going to sound like a right idiot, probably not a point of order, point of clarification. If I don't understand the financial document at all whatsoever, can I still vote for them to be adopted on the basis of everybody else's advice, or do I abstain? So I should
Probably
declare
abstain
now.
if you're not happy. Well,
I'm-
if
I'm
you're
not
not
unhappy
sure,
with them, I just
safest
haven't
to
got a
abstain.
That's
clue.
exactly why I asked Sue if she was happy with it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just that you've got to be able to produce these and send them to the
Yeah.
external auditor and say, that is the rules we're abiding by. And if
Yeah.
you've got a sheet of A4 scribble stuff, they're going to give
I'm
you...
not even
they're not
pretending
gonna-
I've read all
you know.
that document.
Absolutely fine.
And it will control your
Literally,
new clerk as
I
well.
did try,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it didn't actually
Go in.
cognitively
No.
make
Exactly
any
the
sense
same
for
as
me,
me.
sorry.
No? Well,
Yeah.
So I shall abstain then. on
okay,
this
so
this time.
proposer, seconder.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
can we vote? We've got one
Yeah.
abstention.
Yeah, 5-1.
5 and 1 abstention. Okay, second thing is website access loading arrangements.
I think that was Councillor Hamilton, but he's not here, is he? So do you want to defer that to the next meeting?
Yeah, okay. Next one is repair of parish notice boards. That's in the village.
Have we had a quote for that yet?
Well, have you got anybody in mind to do it? Because
this
then we've
company,
got to
isn't
arrange
it?
to...
This is
No,
the
that's
company.
new notice boards.
Yeah,
This is
but-
repair of old ones.
Yeah, but this is the company, and last year they did one in the village for £108, including VAT.
Oh, right, MLS.
Yeah,
Right, I'll
and
get
when I
on to
phoned
that.
him up, he said, yes, we can do another one for £108.
They renewed frontage of it.
Yeah,
Did they?
perspex, yeah, the receipts somewhere, yeah.
Really?
Right, so
Yeah.
I will contact MLS.
Last year?
Yeah, that's what they said.
MLS. Right, okay, now I know who to go to.
Right.
That's fine.
Installation of new notice board,
Oh,
I
we've
think we
sort of
need to
dealt with that,
chase up
haven't we?
Jan Pawley, don't we? Next item, job description, personal specification, advertising for the new clerk and responsible financial officer post. And we've got lots of paperwork, haven't we, on the
There
white
you've got
paper.
1, 2, 3, 4 sides. I've put in red about the domestic allowance. These are just my suggestions if you want to. And we sort of went through the regular duties at the last meeting of what you did and didn't want the clerk to do.
Yeah, this looked fine to me.
I had 2 small questions. One was, you've put organisational skills desirable. To me, your organisational skills are phenomenal. I would
So we're
really
doing
say
essential then?
essential.
Yep.
And the other question that I have, you appear to get an awful lot done in the hours. I wonder whether we need to allow a little bit of extra for somebody who might not be quite as... Are you not particularly fast moving in your ability to achieve things in the number of
Depends
hours?
what mood I'm in. Oh, well, you could perhaps...
I don't want to set a new clerk an
What have we got
unachievable
here?
task.
Well, you've got here, haven't we? We've put it somewhere. Ad hoc duties, where's the...
I think there was something about additional hours.
Yeah, on the ad hoc duties, we've got total time allocated for the above will be by mutual agreement with the council as and when required. So
there's a
would you
bit
want
of-
to give them like a 3 month, with an extra 10 hours a month or something to do training and get up to speed with things or something? Because they're going to have to get to grips with things, aren't they? So I think that's a very valid point.
Yeah.
So you could say total time allocated for the above will be 30 per calendar month, with an additional 10 each month for the first 3 months for familiarisation and training. Does that sound
I
reasonable?
think 6 months is more reasonable.
3 months.
3 months enough?
3 months, because that's quite a generous
Just
number
by
of
the blink of
hours.
an eye, 3 months to me.
But they'll have seen support for some.
Yeah, I've said
time,
out, I'm
she
not going to just
suggested.
walk away and leave you.
Okay.
I'll always be at the end of a phone.
All right.
The only thing I was questioning is the last page on pay and remuneration. The clerk that last year's clerk was on spinal column point 19. How does the NJC rate relate to spinal column points?
It's very similar. I got it from NALC and I worked out based on your precept, how many meetings you have, etc. And that was the banding that it came out as. But again, you can change the remuneration to whatever you want. You can do 10 quid an hour or whatever else, as long as you're above the minimum wage, obviously.
So do NALC have like a formula then? So
They
the
do,
size
they-
of the parish?
Yeah, I don't know if I've got it with me, but they have like a description, the size of the parish, what sort of duties, whether you manage staff, how many committees you've got, how many community centres you've got, how many parks you look after, and so then you find which one you slot into.
Right.
And you slotted into one that's up to 250,000. So I think that because you have more than 12 meetings a year, because of course you've got your finance meetings and things,
Yeah.
but then you don't have community centres, but then you do have a couple of parks. So it was, so it sort of came down as that grouping, and it was the lesser one because you haven't got so many assets to control.
See, the spinal
But I mean, you can
column,
change it as you
that
want.
spinal column for the last one was a lot.
It was 19, wasn't
19,
it?
you
Yeah.
say.
I didn't know. I've just gone from.
Yeah.
I've literally gone from the proper piece of paper. I've not looked at what you did for the old
I
clerk.
think, perhaps
So what am I suggesting?
26th.
Oh right. So that's. But then you're not
Wait,
paying them the domestic allowance that you were doing.
And I think with the old clerk, the reason that, because the old council gave her a wage per year which was actually between 18 and 19, but the SLCC said it couldn't be reduced to 18, it had got to be 19. But the reason it was 19 was that there was a qualification. She had to show some qualification as a clerk, and that was the remuneration, was the fact that you went further up the spinal column points for the
Yeah. Or normally,
experience
if your clerk
qualification.
gets qualified, then they will get an extra increment of 1 spinal point anyway. That's the norm. So if they get Silker qualified or working with the council, you put them up 1.
Does that have to be in this pay and remuneration part here, or is that just taken as, that's the norm, that's what happens?
Whatever you want. So you could put NJC rates 26 to 29, pro rata paid month in arrears, subject to qualifications.
Yeah, something like, because that's quite usual in a job description, isn't it? You get that.
Subject to qualifications. How do you say what they've got? Subject to
Experience.
qualifications. That's qualification. I'll reword that, but yeah, I know
Yeah,
what you
is
mean.
that- yeah.
Right, okay.
So if we had that little bit of a jiggery, then are we
Yeah.
happy that that's the foundation for the?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you be able to email it out to us, Sue, when you've done
Yeah.
just that little bit of
Are you
changing
happy with
and-
the £40 for the domestic allowance?
Yeah.
And are you happy that we send it to NALC to put on their website and email out to people?
Absolutely. Good way of advertising.
And are you happy to put it on the notice boards?
Yeah.
Anywhere else you want it advertising?
Do we need it in the Nottingham Post or something
They're very
like
expensive.
that? Or,
Yeah,
are
it's very expensive.
And you'll get a load of time wasters in January because people decide they want a new job, but they don't really want a new job. It's like a New Year's resolution, isn't it? I'm going to get a new job.
So cynical.
Sorry, it's late. Shall we see how we go with this? We can always, if we don't get any takers, and I'd like to suggest that applications come to my address, addressed to Andrea Bennington,
yeah.
and then I'll know that they're applications because I don't want anything to do with them. I just want to hand them over at a meeting, and then you'll have to set up a staffing committee and interview people, but I want nothing to do with the process, please.
I'm ready for setting, or what we had last year was a personnel committee that we were on. But at the time, because we hadn't got any back paperwork, we were still working through all the documentation. So we started to put together an application form, you know, equal opportunities
I can
monitoring
get all
form,
that for you.
all of those.
I can
But
do all
none
that.
of that existed before we came into the council. So yeah, if you could help us all, that would be really,
I can
really
get all that for you.
helpful.
That's no problem. I can
Yeah.
get what the standards are.
Yeah. Gaelian Borough provided some piece, and things like appraisal, they provided some information for us. But as I say, we were starting from
Yeah,
base
we can
area
sort that.
really. Yeah, that would be really lovely. Though.
So,
So do we
right,
need
so
to
proposer,
propose?
please?
Yes.
Yeah,
second.
Frank will propose and Jack second. And then can we have a vote that we're happy that that would be the wording and yeah, is everybody happy?
Yeah.
Lovely. The next one is to discuss a job description, person specification for a park equipment inspector flag monitor for the council. Now, is this the idea that this is kind of the post that was done last year?
But that
the
it
previous
comes under the
tender?
councils, so you employ someone to do it so that they're covered on your insurance if ever there's an accident or they get something wrong.
And how costly is that going to be? Because if we're actually employing a person, do we then get into the realms of HMRC tax and pension and
Well, I wouldn't
everything
think
else?
they're going to be really earning a lot, are they?
No.
Oh, but if they've got another job and they're doing that, you know, if they've got like that job and another job,
Or, as we sort of talked about before the meeting started informally, why not link this job into the clerk's job? Because there's no reason why a clerk can't go and inspect a play area, because I do it at Nuttall.
I think that would be a better way of doing it, personally.
Yeah.
So
That's
we're
a
going to
I think it's a really good
incorporate-
suggestion, that.
So we're
Because
going
it's
to
a-
incorporate that
it's
into clerks.
It's something of nothing of a job, really,
I know,
isn't it? From a
it's
time point of view.
Yep, so we're going to go for incorporating it into the clerk's job, yeah?
It sounds sensible to do that.
Right, no
Go on.
problem.
Is
Proposer?
there a but coming, Portia?
No, I'm
Oh,
looking at
right.
it again to just make sure whether there might be a but in there anyway.
Well, the only other thing is you'd said the flag monitor. So what would happen? You know, what's the situation going to be around the flag?
Well, we'd have to sort out a process where the church tell them if they want the flag going
Can I
up.
make a suggestion? You mentioned that you're quite right, it does involve them because they know when the funerals are, etc. Because I'm involved there, would it be feasible to take that out of the specification and for me to do it as part of, well, I'm happy to do it as part of my job as a council. I'm quite happy to carry
Everybody
on
happy
doing
with
that.
Yeah, if you
Well,
want
I think
to
okay.
do that.
I think it'll simplify
Yeah,
matters if we do.
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah?
So can we have a proposer and a seconder for that lot then?
Yes, I'll propose it.
yeah.
I've got
Seconder?
some
Yeah.
seconders here. Is everybody happy
Thank
to
you, Jack.
vote that way?
All right.
Thank you, Jack.
Marvellous.
Lovely. Next one is update on the Musa and Bestwood
Sorry,
country.
did Dennis
Sorry.
want to say something?
Oh, sorry, Dennis.
No.
No,
Oh,
no, you're happy.
right.
You're happy.
Supporting it.
We're
Oh,
going to
right.
have to start packing away in a minute.
Yeah, we
because of
are.
the traffic.
Right, so a quick update on the Musa. That's Jack, presumably, yeah?
Well, it's been very well used, but we're waiting for a few things, aren't we? We still have an issue regarding the. We need to set up an inspection regime for it. Sue.
Yeah, which will be the new clerk when they land.
Okay.
Yep.
It just concern. We should be having 3 monthly inspections for the facility as we do for the playground. It started to be used at the end of November, so the first 3 monthly inspections should be
Yeah.
end of February.
Yeah.
I have already made contact with the person who does the inspections for Gedling, because that's where I got the figures from, what it would cost us to include the Musa. It would suit, do you want to contact this fellow to arrange?
Yeah, what's his name?
He's called Terry Ball.
He's the one who's ignoring my emails along with his friend Mr. Cryer.
He's a really nice
yeah,
chap.
yeah.
I'll tell you what, you'll have more success phoning him.
Right,
Can I give
okay.
you his direct number?
Yes, please. That would be helpful.
0115
Yep,
961
yep.
3615. It's his direct
Brilliant.
number, and he's a really nice chap.
Right, I'll talk to him then.
Okay, so we need to get that sorted. We need to get notices sorted, signs, which I think you've already done some work on.
I've got quotes for you. It's just what you want on the signs, what
Yeah.
you want writing wise, which is why we wanted the advice from someone as to what they wanted on there.
Oh, sorry,
hello.
Councillor Barnfather.
Sorry,
Ah.
just that phone number, all Gedling numbers are 901.
901.
It's my sorry,
901.
it's my writing. My 6.
Yeah.
Mine 0 looked like a 6. Thanks for that. It's 901.
Yeah, got
I
you.
do apologise.
Well done, Chris. Pick him up.
I'm glad you're still awake.
So the signage you're still looking into?
Can I just...
We just need the exact wording that we want from signage.
Can I just ask? You know the signs, you know, people can only use it if they're this tall and what have you. Surely Pro-Ludic should have supplied and put those up, included in the price of the actual thing.
I don't know if they should or not, but they
They
didn't.
should. Is it not on your contract? Did you?
No.
You know your contract?
It's definitely not. Because
You've checked.
I have checked and it's not there.
It was only Gedling at the meeting, the signing off meeting. Gedling said, "Oh, and you'll need signs."
See, because I did bring it up last meeting.
Shall I ask
I
Mr.
said
Paul?
to you about it.
The health and safety inspection, which was done by an independent contractor, by the Pro-Ludic appointed, mentioned these signs on his report. We've got a copy of that report, haven't we?
Yeah, yeah.
And he mentioned these signs and made some suggestions as to what information should be incorporated.
And I got some quotes in from someone who
But
does
they were quite
Rotorua
expensive, weren't they?
Oh, yeah.
I think
They're
the
not cheap
contact
things.
telephone number was the key issue, was that there was a contact telephone number
For-
if people saw a problem that there was only
Yeah.
contact.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
also
caretaker
handy to
do,
have the postcode in case they need an ambulance.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'll knock something up. We're going to have to adjourn this, aren't we?
Yeah.
Can't
Is
shall we?
was there, I know from an email, there was something about, was there a mat or something? Has that been stabilised? I can't recall the exact
Yeah,
wording.
something you weren't happy with, wasn't it? So
Well,
Has that been sorted?
no, not. Well, it's up to the council to decide what they want to do, but I'm afraid if the caretaker's here, we're going to have to.
Yeah, well, we'll just
Abandon it.
finish ongoing matters. So, signing of the lease of the land. I think from email correspondence this week, we're not happy with the lease,
No,
are we?
there's some one or two
So,
things we
is
want
everybody
clarified.
happy that Sue gets back in touch with Notts
Yeah.
County Council for rewording of the lease?
you've had some suggestions from myself
Yeah.
and from
Yeah.
Alex, I think.
Yeah,
as well.
and then
Alex.
the last thing on this item was the 106 health money. Well, we're still waiting on the gentleman at Gedling Borough
Providing
to
some-
organise a meeting with the lady from health.
I think
So,
we're still waiting for a transcript of that meeting.
Yes,
as well.
which is, I've chased him up twice now and he's
Yeah.
ignoring me. So,
Yeah.
and I have permission to give him one last chance and then go to the chief exec
Yeah.
and say I'm not
Say-
having any.
Yeah,
Go
we're
then.
not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
So,
So
are we
take it.
happy in view of the time that this, is there anything desperate, Sue, for now, or can it all be carried over to February?
It can probably all be carried over.
Are you happy? Is everybody happy at
Yeah,
that?
okay, right.
Okay, yeah.
If there's anything that the
Thank you.
council wants
Yeah.
urgent, let me know.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you.
And thank you, Sue.
Okay,
You're a
well,
diamond.
I'm going to come and ferret in your garage.
We're
You
carrying
can come
on
and
the
ferret
confidential
it
item
out.
too, or-
Is that okay?
Well, it'll have to be,
Yeah.
because the caretaker can boot us out of it. Yes.
Yeah, I'm getting nowhere.
Just be careful because he's leaving the council.
Oh, is it?
It's not happy, that's what it
Moving
is.
to another council, so you need
Oh,
to
that
chase.
right?
know that.
But I chased him this week over that 106.8 and he sent an email saying you'd met before Christmas. It was
Yeah,
all
but he won't
resolved.
tell. He won't.
No, it
He
wasn't
won't give us a
resolved.
report.
We need a report of the meeting.
No.
Because,
And information for next step. We've been told that there's more time,
Yes.
but we would like to know that in writing.
That's yours.
Thank you so oh, I'm sorry. Thank you so
Well,
much.
that's gone.
So, give me a ring when you have a couple.
Yeah, we'll have a coffee and a chat.
Yeah, now it can't be this week, but next week's a possibility.
I said I want to tell you about Mary, so I'll ring you tomorrow.
Oh, is that all right?
Yeah, oh yeah, I don't love it.
Oh, no, what should
Mary, you're going to love it.
What I have had a one from the solicitor. If I don't get the response to the code of conduct complaint by a week on Friday the 22nd, go ahead without me. Are you all right in the check? Sorry, because I was that busy signing all that other
I
stuff.
think we've only got 2 signatures on and I need someone to sign it.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Can you take them home and sign them? If you take them home and sign them.
Not Jack.
See you, Chris.
Jack,
Jack.
would you be able to take them home and sign them and then I'll
Oh,
arrange
right,
to meet
was it
them?
for me? I'll just make them up off the floor. You
Yeah,
want me to take
we've
them
only
all and
had 2
sign them?
signatures and I need 3, you see.
What do you want me to do it now?
Well, if you don't mind.
Do it very quickly. I didn't realise
You
you
need to sign the cheque stuff as well. So
as well as the cheque.
Yeah.
Where am I signing the cheque? Stuff.
Thank you.
Whereabouts?
Just put your initials
Right,
in
okay,
there.
got you. Yeah.
But, so Pat and I have checked all of them, so you don't really have to check unless you...
So they're not all
I'm
payable
not
to
going to check them, I'm
Esther.
just going to sign them. I'm just looking where the first cheque stood.
You just, but we... See you again. We had a clerk that actually at Nuttall got
19
sacked for making a cheque out.
1966.
You sign those, I'll get these ready
Right.
for you. Sorry, she...
No, we had a clerk at Nuttall that made a cheque out to more than something, and it was for a lawnmower he had delivered to home.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah. That's why you've got all these financial regs that, you know, it's
It's
nailed.
frustrating, isn't it? Because you have to do vast amounts of work
Yeah.
about something that's a very small problem. I feel a little bit
There we
like
go.
that.
But
Right,
external auditors are now
Not
so
that
hot
one.
on financial regs.
there onward. I accidentally signed one extra, but I crossed it out and initialled it.
We didn't do it last time, so I'll just have to tell the internal auditor it's teething things in.